Okay. Hi guys. I want first off to thank the sponsors HP, Rackspace, and Cisco for sponsoring these vBrownbag talks. We wouldn't be able to have them without their help. Also, if you hate my talk today, you can blame them for making this possible. I am Stephen Balukoff. I am the principal technologist for Blue Box Group, which essentially means that I get to make it my job. Having been involved, well, in the last 4 months, I have been involving myself in the Neutron load balancer as a service project. Well, there's several reasons for that. First off, I find the subject matter very interesting, and from our perspective, having a reliable, feature-rich load balancer is key to customers' cloud strategies. I was a key player in the team at Blue Box that made our own load balancer for our legacy non-OpenStack cloud twice, and I felt that I could add some operational expertise to the discussion. And as a final note, as a de facto member of Team Awesome at Blue Box, I noticed a severe lack of awesome within the Neutron load balancer as a service project. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking to you briefly about the recent history of the Neutron LBAS project, where we are today and where we're headed in Juno and beyond. This is a very interesting time to be talking about this, because in the last few months, we've seen a huge upswing both in the parties interested in the sub-project, as well as activity on the mailing list and in the IRC meetings and whatnot. In particular, we've seen operators like Blue Box and Rackspace and HP getting involved or re-involved in the project. In fact, things are in such flux right now that I honestly didn't know what I was going to be able to say today prior to the meeting this morning. Everything I say here might be superseded by new developments within the community tomorrow, so if you really want to stay current with this, come to the IRC meetings, participate in the mailing list discussion, and try to keep up, and I apologize in advance because I tend to be very verbose. Okay, so load balancing we think is important because it's key for providing high availability and scalability to tenant applications, especially web applications. It's a prerequisite for most kinds of auto-scaling. And if it's made in a consumable fashion, it can actually provide high availability for other other OpenStack projects. And let's be honest, without a performant, functional, and feature-rich load balancer, you really don't have a cloud. So let's see here. So I'm actually not the best person to tell you about the ancient history of the Neutron LBAS project, the reference implementation. Let's see here. The Neutron LBAS subproject has been around for a couple of years, and like many things having to do with Neutron, there has definitely been some controversy within LBAS, and that's probably contributed to the general slowness and lack of project progression and lack of feature development within the actual Neutron LBAS project. From what I can tell as a newcomer, there hasn't been a whole lot of change in LBAS since it was created initially. So, as of today, Neutron LBAS, basically the reference implementation is in the form of a Neutron agent which spawns an HA proxy daemon. This HA proxy instance is capable of load balancing one TCP-based service like HTTP or HTTPS per virtual IP address. It distributes client connections to the front end to a pool of backend servers, and that's basically all it does. What's conspicuous about this load balancing service are the features it lacks compared to just about any commercial load balancing product, including several direct competitors with OpenStack Cloud. Examples include SSL termination support, ability to handle multiple backend server pools and select among them using layer 7 logic, high availability, availability to have more than one listening service per virtual IP address, metrics and usable logging functionality, scalability, and really any kind of operator or admin controls at all. To be fair, there were blueprints and other plans created to add several of these features, but these didn't actually make it into Icehouse. There are several third-party appliances and drivers which work with Neutron LBAS in Icehouse, but of course these are going to be limited by the functionality to what the object model API and effectively what the reference implementation can allow. So what started happening about 4 months ago was about the same time many operators, especially Blue Box, Rackspace, and HP, took a renewed interest in seeing the load balancer functionality within OpenStack start to deliver a more full set of features. It became apparent that the current API and object model were woefully inadequate for delivering many of the features already in use in the existing load balancer implementation at our various companies, as well as advanced features our users were asking for. So we began to propose some pretty significant alterations to the current model and API, both to deliver current functionality in a more intuitive way and to enable the addition of more advanced features in a more seamless way in the future. In the course of this debate, we've seen several different object models proposed, several which have been shot down by Neutron, of course, devs. Several different API proposals have been produced, compared, and the merits of these have been debated. And we have, for the first time ever in this project, gathered both real-world load balancer feature usage data from operators, feature development priorities from operators, user use cases, and we have just recently conducted a survey on which user use cases are relevant to which operators. The results of this are going to be coming out within the next 24 hours. Watch the mailing list. Specifically, Samuel is going to be publishing those. It has been a very bumpy road. Tensions have run high, and at times the debate has been pretty fierce. And even this week, on Tuesday, in fact, we have discussed separating load balancer as a service away from Neutron to become its own project, which would then be a consumer of network services instead of a sub-project of Neutron. But there are also very positive developments too. As of this week, to everyone's credit, the whole time, we have nevertheless been able to come to the table and compromise and honestly consider each other's needs, as well as what is best for the project overall. In other words, we're still on the same team that wants to produce the best cloud load balancer on the market today. We're happy to report that several operators, as well as the Neutron load balancer as a service primary developers, have come to an agreement on the overall tenant-facing object model and corresponding API that we think we should all use. Note that we have yet to present this to the Neutron core devs yet, and we also don't have all of the operators involved in it yet, but this is a huge step for us. I think that most people involved in this project have a clearer vision of where we need to go with it than at any previous time in this project, and have a good idea how to get there. Neutron core developers and leadership are taking the LBAS project very seriously. As a result of these activities, among several things, a Neutron core developer is going to act as a liaison between LBAS sub-project and the rest of the Neutron project to help ensure that we are getting our voice heard and that problems are resolved quickly. Neutron core leadership will be putting emphasis on mentoring people to bring people from LBAS as well as other advanced services project in order to bring them up to speed and bring them into the fold more quickly. Neutron core leadership has committed to actually producing the laundry list of areas where Neutron core itself is weak or otherwise needs improvement, so that people who want to contribute know where they can best spend their time. We also have agreed that the goal should be, in the long run, to improve the state of Neutron such that load balancer as a service and other advanced services can be split off from it if it is appropriate to do so at some future date. The companies involved in Neutron load balancer service have likewise committed to helping improve the quality of Neutron core code and otherwise getting more involved in the Neutron project itself. As far as the load balancer service project is concerned, we still need to start collecting and coming up with a plan for addressing the operator needs and requirements. And thus far, the discussions have been entirely about the tenant-facing API, so we haven't really started to address the operator concerns. We need to update the reference implementation to work with the new object model and API. This is a pretty revolutionary change that we are working on, so it may require rewriting much of the existing reference implementation from scratch. We need to do what is necessary to improve the Neutron public API to enable features that will allow several advanced services to use, several advanced features of load balancer as a service to work. We need to continue to seek consensus by gathering data and encouraging respectful debate. We need to make sure we continue to foster an environment where stakeholders stay at the table because they feel they have a voice in the discussion. So what does the future look like? It's unlikely we'll be able to deliver all of the features we would like to by Juno. But it should definitely be possible to adopt the new Neutron LBAS tenant-facing API by then. Let's see. Load balancer as a service is going to have to get more involved in Neutron if we even want that to happen. We might not be able to, we also might not be out of the woods yet. I think I can safely say that all the parties involved in this effort want to see our efforts to collaborate work and bear fruit. But it's entirely possible that some operators may decide to strike out on their own. And if they do this, there are some likely reasons why they would do so. And these are, the end goal feature set doesn't deliver everything that's essential to the operator's needs. I mean, after all, why should an operator spend the time to work on this if they end up with a product they can't use in the end? If the operators feel they're not being well served by the Neutron project leadership, they could strike out on their own. In other words, everyone needs to actually meet their commitments that they've made with regard to communication and the other things here. If we reach any major impasses that cannot be overcome through respectful debate or data collection, that might be another reason why somebody would leave. So far, we've been able to navigate around the iceberg successfully, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to do so. And if the project velocity can't be maintained well enough to meet operator deadlines, After all, this is a competitive market, and we can't wait too long to deliver product. So, having said all this, I do want to emphasize that unprecedented positive developments have happened within the Neutron project and LBAS subproject in particular in recent months. And as a result of all these things, I'm actually very optimistic about the future of load balancer as a service within OpenStack. Thank you very much.